much motherfucking design on right now.
Bring it down, make it clap. I got 3 old thoughts, new block, wear that thing, bitches on my line, and you know.
What is the definition of inflation? Inflation is defined as the rate of increase in prices over a given period of time. Inflation is a situation where there is a persistent and rapid increase in the general price level. It can be reflected in the average price increase of a basket of selected goods and services over some period of time. As mentioned before, inflation is the rate of increase in prices over a given period of time. The inflation can occur under certain circumstances. For example, when there are too much money chasing too many goods. Another example is when the cost of living has increased, it is indicated that inflation has occurred. Next, persistent fall in the value of money. The next one is when the prices are rising. And the last one is when there are chronic excess aggregate demand over aggregate supply in the market.
Venezuela is currently experiencing hyperinflation, which started in 2016 while the nation was still through a socio-economic and political crisis. Inflation in Venezuela started in 1983 and hasn't stopped since with double-digit annual inflation rates. Under Nicolas Maduro, inflation rates rose to record high by 2014 and continued to rise throughout the ensuing years, reaching an all-time high of 1,000,000% by 2018. The current hyperinflation situation is more severe than earlier hyperinflationary occurrences, including those that occurred in Argentina, Bolivia, Brazil, Nicaragua, and Peru in the 1980s and 1990s, as well as Zimbabwe in the late 2000s. The Venezuela administration also adopted measures that made the inflationary pressure worse. The outcome was a sharp devaluation of the Venezuela bolivar, the country official currency, which accelerated inflation. Price soared and making it more and more challenging for regular people to buy necessities like food, medicine, and other important commodities. So people's savings were delayed by hyperinflation, which also caused widespread poverty and economic instability. Price limits on necessities and a tightly controlled foreign exchange system were among these policies, which were also used to support excessive money printing for government spending. The country economic basis was further eroded by the interventionist policy of the government, poor economic management, corruption, and a lack of economic diversification. So, in an effort to combat the country inflation crisis, the Venezuelan government has implemented monetary reforms, redenominated its currency, and made an effort to stabilize a price. So the country still struggles with high inflation rates, while these policies have a limited impact.
The first one is currently Venezuela is battling hyperinflation. So what is hyperinflation? Hyperinflation is a very high inflation rate that accelerates quickly. It can be caused by a government printing huge amounts of money to pay for its expense. So for the second one is the economic catastrophe begin with government price controls and plummeting oil prices, which caused state-run oil companies to go bankrupt. So by the government then starting printing new money to cope, thus prices rose rapidly, and employment increase and GDP collapse. So for the third one, current president Nicolas Maduro does not seem inclined to steer away from his course of prices and economic mismanagement. So the standard of living in the country is not expected to improve significantly anytime soon.
There are two related issues regarding this topic. First is currency devaluation. Inflation, money printing, and currency devaluation in Venezuela have diminished the bolivar's value, lowering purchasing power, living standards, and hindering international investment and economic stability. For instance, the citizens of Venezuela need to carry a ton of money just to buy a small amount of basic needs like food. This happened because of low value in bolivar currency. Second is economic contractions. Hyperinflation and economic contraction in Venezuela have caused a declining economy, reduced job opportunities, and increased poverty rates. due to decreased GDP, business closures, layoff, and deteriorating infrastructure affecting oil production. For instance, from the picture given, citizens of Venezuela go to other country as a migrant to get a job to survive. This happened because of very limited job opportunities caused by companies shutdown.
Next, I will explain about the impact of the related issue. The first one is decreasing purchasing power. Hyperinflation has ordered the value of the Venezuela currency, the bolivar, leading to a severe decline in purchasing power. Price for goods and services have skyrocketed, making it extremely difficult for ordinary Venezuelans to afford basic necessities such as food, medicine, and household items. The second one is poverty and inequality. Inflation has exacerbated poverty level in Venezuela. Many people have been pushed into extreme poverty as their income has become inadequate to cover their daily needs. The most vulnerable population have been hit the hardest, and income inequality has widened significantly. The third one is economic instability. Hyperinflation has caused significant economic instability in Venezuela. It has eroded investor confidence and hindered foreign investment in the country. Many businesses have struggled to operate due to the rapid increase in costs and the uncertain economic environment. The fourth one is mass immigration. The economic crisis fueled by inflation has driven mass immigration from Venezuela. Millions of Venezuelans have fled the country in search of better living conditions, seeking refuge in neighboring and countries and beyond. The mass exodus has put additional strains on the economic and social system of these host countries.
Okay, for the first solution on how to prevent inflation in Venezuela, so for the first one is fiscal discipline. By implementing responsible fiscal policies, it's crucial to curb inflation. The government should aim to reduce budget deficit, control public spending, and avoid excessive money printing, which can fuel inflationary pressures. For second one is monetary policy reform. Adopting a more stringent monetary policy can help combat inflation. This involves reducing the money supply growth, tightening credit conditions, and implementing measures to restore confidence in the local currency.
So the conclusion is to overcome the inflation crisis and reboot the economy. Comprehensive and sustained reforms are necessary. This includes addressing the root cause of the inflation, implementing some fiscal and monetary policies, promoting economic diversification, combating corruption, and restoring investor confidence. International support and collaboration may also play a crucial role in assisting Venezuela in its recovery efforts. It will take time and effort to solve Venezuela's inflation crisis. Both the government and the populace need to be patient, persistent, and in their efforts. It is crucial to control expectations and stay dedicated to the reform process since it takes time to rebuild an economy.